CRWS, Countering Racism White Supremacy Book Club. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below.
To arrest and deport a man who has been masquerading as Jesus in Kenya. Two church pastors who invited him have also been arrested. These two have been hosting and moving with the controversial American national, convincing believers that the man is Jesus Christ and had finally come as he promised. In case you missed it, Jesus Christ visited the continent this weekend and there is a video to prove it. You could check out the video in the card above. The heavenly event started with a Kenyan pastor announcing that he had invited Jesus to come down to his church. And minutes later, while Jesus appeared, complete with long hair and wearing a robe. The congregation danced and celebrated on the streets of Caesarea, and of course the Son of God joined in. Two pastors, one from Kenya and the other from South Africa, allegedly claimed to have found Jesus and are presenting the man to their congregation as the Son of God. Photos of the alleged male, who they are calling Jesus, were captured while he was speaking to a group of people in what appears to be a church, and the pictures are now making waves on the internet and questions are being asked. Kenya's government arrests and deport the white man who has been going around taking money from Kenyans to perform miracles and secure seats for them in heaven. The two church pastors who empower him have also been arrested. On behalf of this channel, once again, I appreciate you for watching. What do you think about this? Is the end of the world approaching? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please don't forget to hit on that like button if you found this informative, and if it is your first time here on this channel, be sure to subscribe.
And last names of 6 witches. We got first and last names of 6 witches that are in our church. And you know what's strange? 3 of you are in this room right now. Three of you in the room right now. You better look in my eyeballs. We ain't afraid of you, you stinking witch. You devil-worshiping Satanist witch. We cast you out in the name of Jesus Christ. We break your spells. We break your curse. We got your first name. We got your last name. We even got an address for one of you. You so much as cough wrong and I'll expose you in front of everybody in this tent, you stinking witch. You were sent to this church to destroy us. You were sent to this church to lure us in. You were sent to this church to cast spell. Listen, some of you been sick because you befriended that witch. 2 of you in my wife's ladies Bible study, and you know who you are, and we gonna ask you to get out or I'll expose you in front of everybody. We got all 6 of their names. All 6 of them. 2 of them had already been confirmed before that thing ever even said it. First and last name. This chick is new to our church and don't know none of you. So you got a choice. You can leave with your spells all by yourself. Or I'll show up next Sunday with a stage full of brooms. And I'll give you one and I'll fly your tail up out of this place in the name of Jesus. But we ain't playing your spell casting, witchcraft, nonsense, sage burning games. Everybody okay? The witches are like, nope. And your little dog too. You're out, witch.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to CRWS. Book study on Kyrie and the Heralds, Race Code War, the Power of Images and Words on the Black Psyche, covering pages 260 through 275. And yeah, we're going through a very serious topic, tragically. Area 7, religion. And I played those clips prior to because I think they are very significant in relation to what we're going to be discussing, and also kind of display how I've always viewed this area 7 as very ridiculous and silly, but tragically racist men and racist women are very powerful, and they've taken this religion thing, often known as Christianity, Catholicism, Buddhism, Hinduism, any of the isms that fall under religion. They've taken these concepts and they have used it to completely and utterly confuse us and to prevent us from focusing on solving our problems, actually confusing us in such a incorrect state that we actually rely on a imaginary white figure to save us and solve our problems for us while we suffer while waiting on the white savior's aid. So we're gonna hear from Kai Rayner's decoding and analyzing of religion, and more specifically Jesus Christ and God, aka racist man and racist woman. So I'm gonna read a little bit from 263. Ask any child or adult, whether Black, white, Asian, Latino, or Indian, what Jesus looked like, and even in 2003, at least 90% will point to the picture of a white male. If the color of a man doesn't matter, why have the white supremacists spent billions of dollars to perpetuate the image of Jesus as a white male? Color does matter. What are the power and impact of this kind of white imaging of Jesus on the psyche of white, Black, and other people? If Jesus were a white male, then white men in the symbolic sense become the image of God. The white male embodies all that is good, wonderful, clean, and holy. Angels are depicted as white, heaven is a white place, and most importantly, Jesus is white. The nemesis of Jesus is the devil. The devil is always painted as a dark creature with dark clothes, dark hair, and evil traits that are codified as Black. God is white and God is good. The concept of goodness is associated with race and color. For example, the old gospel saying states, yes, he will wash you whiter than snow. Goodness, God, and whiteness have become synonymous terms. Badness is associated with Blackness, hell, darkness, evil, and the devil. The white symbol is powerfully attached to emotions of true believer because prayer is a very intimate and spiritually binding act. It is a bonding process of the faith to the believer. The mind attaches to the emotions to the symbol. Since no one has totally seen God, the mind must develop some symbol of who God is. The mind is bombarded with millions of pictures, paintings, photos, and emotional attachments that depict God in a white context. And the human mind has no other believable frame of reference. The believer prays to the symbol that is believed to be a valid representation of God. The people who closest resemble the white image of Jesus will be viewed as the closest connection to God. God is white and the devil is Black. Therefore, white is good and Black is bad and evil. So I'm gonna pause there and just point out that he stated this in 2003. It is now 2022, and I suspect this information is still very accurate. That most people on the planet, when they think of God, they think of a person classified as white, and this is very damaging. Developing, and he mentions how prayer is such a intimate practice, and when one is praying to a concept such as God given to them by racist men and racist women, that is very damaging. It's like pledging allegiance to your destruction or to your continued subjugation. And we're going to get more into that when we start talking about the cross and how the dark colored cross and the white colored cross has different meanings. But the language and the scripture known as the Bible is just riddled with just racism, white supremacy. Yes, he will wash you whiter than snow. It's just just really bizarre to me, but I totally understand it because I understand the damage done to people classified as Black and non-white people in general. But it's so bizarre that a group that has classified you as an enemy can give you a piece of propaganda known as the Bible, and then we can practice it for so long after we learn, after our chattel slavery, we learned that, oh, this is a lie. You know, many of us have realized that, I suspect, or maybe I'm incorrect, but we realized that this religion is, this white God is not constructive, but perhaps we don't have any other ways of coping with our predicament, or perhaps we haven't been exposed to counter-racist code or logic yet, but whatever is happening needs to, and I'm gonna pause there, and I see Ray wants to chime in.
Oh, I didn't want to interrupt. I just wanted to ask you, are you aware or have you observed any group of white people on the planet so-called worship any image that looks other than themselves?
No, I honestly have not, unless it's something involving the occult, like so-called secret societies, them worshiping dark creatures and dark figures, or if it's some sort of fetishism, some sort of sexual like worship going on. I've seen a lot of that on the internet. But as for genuine, like, reverence to this Black person as a god that they're gonna pray to every day, and no.
If I could answer as well, is that allowed, or was that only a question for 05?
Oh, no, sir. This is always open-ended.
Okay. I have seen images of the Pope worshiping a Black Madonna, a Black, I guess, what so-called Virgin Mary. But as a collective group, white people worshiping images of people that don't look like them or somebody that doesn't look like them, I have not seen that. So I think I agree with 05 that mostly this is done in secrecy, where they're worshiping people that don't look like them. But all I have to reference is the image of the Pope worshiping like a Black Madonna.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to the clip with the preacher talking about the witch, and I just want to point out to the audience who will be who's watching and who will be watching, that notice how the preacher did not tell the audience who the witch is, who the witches so-called were. He did not name names, and that is a very common racist practice, common white behavior for people who are classified as white to withhold information. If you are a so-called Christian and you're in a church, and wouldn't you want to know who may be casting spells on you or whatever witches do? So just pay attention to that. Pay attention how that preacher did not name names at all, actually. Say a lot of words, yes, but withheld information, very deceitful, very refined. And the beginning clip, non-white people dancing with imaginary white Jesus actor guy, very telling of what's been done to us. Should be motivation for us to just promote the truth as often as possible. Go ahead, Mr. Kweku.
I was just gonna add about the white preacher, the white male preacher. That's a good point, because with him withholding information, he's I guess trying to retain some type of power over the congregation. So he is withholding this information to ensure that the congregation is still confused. I assume they're probably looking around, who could this witch be? Please tell us, let us know. Ultimately leaving this preacher with some sort of power, which is what racist men, racist women do to their many victims across the planet, withhold constructive information to keep themselves in a position of power and influence.
It also, to me, it kind of gives off the vibe that maybe whoever these witches are may have some sort of truth about him, and he's attempting to persuade his congregation to be automatically against those who would oppose him him being the church, the congregation itself. So to oppose him would be to oppose the church. It just seems as if he has something to hide himself. And that the white supremacists, all their warfare is based on deception. No matter which way they practice it.
Very, very well said, and excellent observation. I did not even think in that manner, but very, very possible. I'm highly suspect of that preacher. I suspect he is not a good, kind, God-fearing preacher, whatever that even means. So, yeah. And I was gonna say what was said made me think of just the Bible in itself is white people again. They have stolen that whatever the Bible used to be. They have now taken it and made it white and a piece of racist propaganda. And it is that piece of propaganda in itself is withholding information, because I've heard a lot of Black people say, you can read about it, but you got to study it. You got to like decode it, basically. It's like first of all, it's like a 4,000 page book that you have to like study and decode. It sounds like one could spend a lot of time, reading and deciphering white fantasies, with plagiarized white fantasies. That could take up a lot of person's time and energy, and definitely distract one from solving the root of all their problems, or even being able to detect that, hey, the root of all my problems is attached to this Bible. This production of this Bible is actually the system of racism and white supremacy. That is the root of all my problem. And then this Mr. Jesus fellow here, me getting on my knees every morning or every night to say, Jesus, help me out, that really hasn't been constructive into helping to solve our problems. Well, getting a little bit back to the text, he mentions how important it is for white people to maintain the image of a white God, a white Christ, a white Jesus Christ, a white Virgin Mary. And that's also an excellent segment on that on 262 that Ray is gonna go ahead and share with us, if you may.
In 1999, there was a great controversy which stirred the passion of a white nation surrounding the depiction of the Holy Virgin Mary in the Brooklyn Museum of Art. It stirred so much controversy that Rudolph Giuliani, mayor of the city of New York, attempted to freeze millions of dollars in museum funding because the exhibit, called Holy Virgin, was a dung-decorated portrait of a Black Virgin Mary. The depiction had the Virgin wrapped in elephant dung with alleged pornographic cutouts, which many people, especially white people, believe were offensive, sickening, and disgusting. But beneath all the turmoil was the fact that the artist had chosen to portray the Virgin Mary as a Black female. If the Virgin Mary were allowed to be Black, the offspring Jesus would be Black too. A depiction of Jesus as a Black man raised eyebrows in the painting called The Jesus of the People that was published in the National Catholic Reporter. This depiction of Jesus caused the editor of the publication to predict that the era of the blonde, blue-eyed Jesus was over, maybe. Hundreds of thousands of churches, businesses, and schools have entrenched images of Jesus as a white male. Billions of dollars have been spent to perpetuate the image of white male godliness. The white supremacists have published millions of Sunday school booklets, billboards, movies, videos, video games, church fans, church bracelets, and rings, posters, religious bumper stickers, newspapers, magazine prayer, clothes, candles, church hymn books, Bibles, church paintings, church murals, choir robes, training and teaching materials, and large pictures on church walls perpetuating this image of Jesus as a white male, and it has been drummed into the minds of people around the world.
Thank you, sir. And notice how when Black people were depicted as so-called holy figures, all the controversy arises, even when the depiction is quite grotesque. This is no way we should want to see any Black females presented, with shit, elephant shit around them, or to use a euphemism, elephant dung around them. And to me, this just shows that I don't know if the artists of this, I suspect the white person did this, may be incorrect, but I suspect it's a white person because this is just a distorted perception I suspect some of them view non-white people as. But even this image, because she's supposed to be a holy figure, causes controversy because white people know how important it is to keep holy figures, holy religious symbols as white people, because hey, we gotta stay in charge. We gotta keep the focus on us. We gotta keep the focus on us. So when we see Virgin Mary, even if she's a grotesque Black female, hey, that's still a threat to the programming we want to encourage on planet Earth 24/7. Same thing here with Jesus of the people. Black Jesus, what the hell are you doing? He called it. A white person saw this. He said there was the era of the blonde, blue-eyed Jesus was over. So very, very interesting. Just what we're dealing with here, and we have to understand that religion and its is propaganda. Christian, all of the religions that have been given to us, we must, if possible, make them constructive or replace them with codification. Go to producejustice.com. Yeah, order your copy of the Counteringrws Code Book by Neely Fuller Jr. And you that would definitely help us to solve this race problem, because we've been doing this religion thing, this talking to Jesus and God thing for a while, and haven't seen much progress, whatever that even looks like in a system of white supremacy. But continuing. First want to share before we move on.
Yes, so 263, or the bottom portion that you read, about the white symbols powerfully attach the emotions of the true believer, because prayer is a very intimate and spiritually binding act. This is, I didn't read the whole thing, but this is usually a statement that I use. I have family members who are extremely religious, and not just family members, but just people that I know who are extremely religious. So usually when they ask me about religion, if I am a Christian, or what's the usual phrase, have you accepted Jesus Christ as your savior? I usually reply with something like, I don't practice Christianity because every time I think about God, I see a white person. And I think that is extremely bad for my self-image and my self-confidence as a Black person. So that's usually my response to a question like that. The few times I've used it, usually I don't really get any kind of response or rebuttal, I guess I should say. So I thought that was interesting that he put that in there, because I didn't think that's how other people felt about that. But usually I think I just don't know what else can be said about white Jesus at this point. I don't know what it's gonna take for Black people. I mean, probably getting codified, but I don't know what it's gonna take for Black people to understand that white Jesus is probably one of the most confusing symbols for Black people, and that continue to keep us in the conditions that we find ourselves in. I just don't understand what more can be said. Probably not saying enough or saying it correctly enough. So I don't think I'll stop, but I don't know. I don't know what else Black people need to hear about this.
Thank you, Mr. Crazy. Very much understood. And due to we're talking, I think this is an excellent representation of what just like what has been done to us on a collective, as a collective of people classified as Black. This is an excellent representation of what has been done to our psyche, our existence, and this is prayer. This is what praying to white concepts known as Jesus Christ, God. This is what it produces. This is the sickness it produces, and the voiceover is Phil Valentine on the Context of White Supremacy show. You can find that by tracking it down from the Context of White Supremacy. I also uploaded it on CRWS channel. So I'm going to play this clip because this is the results of prayer.
That type of spirituality, to warp it, to pervert it, and to turn it into the psychosis we see every Sunday with people falling out over this this entity, this demon they call Jesus.
Wow. Wow. Now
Contain that type of spirituality, to warp it, to pervert it, and to turn it into the psychosis we see every Sunday with people falling out over this this entity, this demon they call Jesus.
Wow.
I played it twice on purpose because significant imagery. Must think about and correct the damage.
Hey, L5, could you go back to that to the painting you just had there?
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Was that the piece of art that's in question here in the text?
Yes, sir.
That made me think back to when we were talking about the Nazis and the occult, and some notes that I had from that book. I suspect that this artist could be a white person as well, and not only that, but by their language, also a corporaphile. Now, I thought back to the Nazis and the occult because it said that Hitler was a corporaphile, and a corporaphile is anyone who is sexually aroused and derives pleasure from feces. So for this artist to use that to depict,
he looks like a black male according to Google.
Oh, really? Well, hey, a highly damaged victim. And that's what I have to say about that. Then I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and as I'm paying attention to the imagery, it doesn't even look like elephant poo. It looks more like, just the asses and vaginas of black females. That's what I'm seeing here. And
I'd love to know what his motivation for that was.
Yeah, and a lot of his images, it looks like distorted black females. So very, very, very bizarre. But this is what is promoted. This is what the system promotes. Black people being presented in a manner, from my perspective, seems very incorrect and bizarre, and like creaturified. But makes millions, supports the business of white supremacy. So I'm going to keep reading here because there's a lot of significant information here covering religion that hopefully convinces at least one non-white person to put the Bible down and pick up the United Independent Compensatory Ecosystem Concept book. But yes, from page 264, we have this very simple theme. Oh, let me go back to because we need the white image, a very powerful image. We need it. This is what we're talking about in this section. This very simple theme is one of the most effective racial symbols ever devised. It establishes a clear sense of good and bad based on color. The symbolism on white Jesus establishes the white male as God. On earth, it is hard to go against what God says. Gods are all-seeing, all-knowing, all-wise, and whenever doing anything wrong or misleading, to go against a God is to seal your fate in hell and darkness for eternity. Messages are implanted in black and white minds from childhood, and even in the modern world, there are a few Bibles or other Christian images featuring Jesus as anything other than a white male. Black and white people have been so conditioned to accept this image that they will destroy any serious effort to take down the picture of the white Jesus. Wait, hold on, did I read that right? White people have been so conditioned to accept this image that they will destroy any serious effort to take down a picture of the white Jesus. Oh yeah, that's what he mentioned. They will say that it doesn't matter what color Jesus was and will accuse the advocate for change of being racist and having a color hang up. Black and white people have shared their most intimate, emotional, and venerating moments with Jesus. Black people believe that Jesus is a personal savior and giver of eternal life, and they count on him to fight their battles. That is the most ironic and probably the most confusing part. They believe that the same white man who they believe is God and Jesus will do the right thing and set them free. Emotional confusion can run wild because it is extremely hard to understand anyone worshiped as God. This is why Black people will believe a white man or a white woman before they will a Black man or a woman. I'm just gonna make a quick correction here. Black men or Black women do not exist. At best, we are Black males and Black females. Only women who exist on this planet currently are white, tragically. Gonna continue reading. Many Black people have been conditioned to believe in goodness and godliness of white people. Most will never openly admit to this. They will say that even to suggest such nonsense is stupid and without validity. The behavior of Black people, with some few exceptions, prove this beyond a doubt. Deep in the minds of Black people is the unshakable belief that if the white man says so, it must be true. The belief in whites as gods helps to give them unprecedented credibility among Black people. No other race of people would entrust their destiny to another that has committed such atrocities, destruction, deception, and death against them all over the world. Yet the strong and silent worship of the white male image of Jesus keeps the confusion intact. When confusion rules, order takes control. Prayer is a total mental, spiritual, and emotional engagement that requires total surrender and submission. Words like master are statements such as choose you this day whom you shall serve, or do you need a personal savior? Seal the deal. When decoded, such statements reveal that people are powerless to solve their own problems. These quiet yet effective associations play on one's mental correlation with the slave master's terminology. White-nized biblical symbolism is subliminally incorporated into the mind and emotion so that the association with the slave master is maintained through the language of the religion. The slave wants to be free from the oppressor while at the same instant praying to a white male image of God for justice and freedom. This emotional contradictions heightens the confusion that produces misdirection and disorientation. And I think a lot of this is how and why we can observe so many Black people talking about Jesus and God in such a interesting manner. They'll say they have a relationship with God, or they say God is first. And I've heard a number of Black females say that they want a God-fearing man. And what I decode that to be is they want a Black male who's highly subservient and white identified to the system of white supremacy. And it's really, really bizarre. They really, God becomes the stand-in for this actual father figure or this sexual figure. And it's really, really sad because we cannot allow on a tool from our enemies to help us to solve our problems. There's no logic behind this propaganda known as religion, and in the form that we know it, at least in the form of Jesus and all that stuff. And that's why, and I hate spending so much time talking about this and having most of this fall on deaf ears because religion and racism, white supremacy or should I say the religion of racism and white supremacy, the most powerful religion in the known universe, has done a number on the minds of non-white people. So no matter how much this information is presented to us, we seem to still want to get on our knees and pray to white concepts and not focus on the race problem and solve that problem so we can solve all of our problems and produce a system of justice guaranteeing no one is allowed to be mistreated and those who need help receive constructive help. That should be the goal, not developing a relationship with Jesus Christ, not wanting to, just not what we're focused on right now. Justice or death should be our thinking mentality. I could be incorrect. And I'm also just a powerless, pitiful Black male prisoner of war, victim of racism. So I can't force anybody to do anything. I can only make suggestions. And I'll pause there to see if folks want to chime in.
I suspect that the religion of racism, white supremacy, aka Christianity, has severely made Black people docile. I have encountered a number of Black people who rely on praying to solve their problems, and I think it coincides with the text. I think I don't know exactly where in the text the author put it, but many Black people pray, and it causes them not to actually try to solve the problem, and they just rely on white people to solve all of their problems. I think the clip of the white male acting like Jesus shows exactly that. It was quite I guess pathetic and pitiful to watch that Black people were giving this white male that kind of reaction. I think it just kind of shows how confused many Black people all over the planet still are, especially in that part of the world. I think it's also interesting how the author on 264 brings up that when you bring up the color of Jesus, they say it doesn't matter. I've personally done that, and I've gotten that response, and I didn't think it would be. It was kind of a defense mechanism. I guess I should have, but I think it makes sense that it. What's the word I'm looking for? They, rather than face the truth, you'll just kind of make up an excuse for it. So rather than accept that, Jesus Christ is white and I'm basically worshiping a white person, you'll just deny, and kind of just live in confusion. Go ahead.
Oh, I just was really quick. No one wants to add in the fact that there are no white people in this region at that time. So where does this blue-eyed, blonde-haired person come from? I mean, that's just simple logic that will override any, the strongest emotion any Black person has about this white Jesus. Even these, so-called Africans here on the screen. If this Jesus existed, it looked like y'all, not this person. Who was this? Just a thought.
Yeah, and it's so tragic that that was mentioned by Kyrie and Harrow, how if Jesus did so-called exist, he would have been a Black male. We've heard this mentioned by so many Black scholars, but here we have 2022. The belief that Jesus and God is a white person still very, very, very much in practice, which is why we should just abandon the whole philosophy of Christianity on all the religions given to us by racist men, racist women, and just get behind the code. Because at the end of the day, white people their religion and their code is the same thing, I suspect, and that's maintaining and practicing racism, white supremacy. They have a way of doing that. And back to what you said, Kwaku, about how Black people will get like defensive when you mention aspects of their religion, like God, and just hey, this is a white guy. What's up? What's going on? I've discovered that hey, when you discuss any area of people activity in regards to the race problem with a non-white person, they're gonna probably get uncomfortable because they probably haven't thought about it in any serious thought, except when they're reacting to it. But yeah, it's tough. And Kyron Ahero, he describes it excellently here. He says on 265, this is why even the slightest hint at resistance against whiteness sends many Black people cowering and running for cover. They cannot bring themselves to oppose, hurt, or defy this incorrect image of a white God. Simultaneously, the Black man is cast as the devil. The devil is dark, menacing, and lives in the dark, bottomless pit with no sunshine. The equation is Black man plus evil equals the devil. Unfortunately, there is no real concept of a Black Jesus. Any pictures of a Black Jesus changes each and every week. There is no consistent picture of a Black Jesus that can be sold or marketed as a counter or challenge to the white male image. That's why we just throw the whole philosophy away, because even if we produce a ton of Black male images, the programming has been so long and so devastating that, like what Kwaku said, the average non-white person is probably going to think white person when thinking about God. Some white light may not be a white person per se, but maybe a white light, which is also a symbol of racism and white supremacy. Maybe a beam, may also a symbol of white supremacy. Maybe something shining. All incorrect thoughts given to you by a racist man and racist woman that we have to correct, individually and as a collective of prisoners of war trapped in this giant, deplorable prison known as planet Earth.
I wanted to add as well. I agree with I don't on the top of 266 where the author Wakari Nahara talks about what must be done. I guess that VGQ, but in my opinion, I don't think you can really save or salvage this religion. I think it would just be best to start over, to create something different, or go back to the original images of God that Black people were practicing years ago. I don't think you can switch out the Black image of Jesus Christ while there's still a white image out there. I don't think, but that's all an assumption. I don't know what works. I also wanted to add, it's interesting how this image of white Jesus kind of creeps into all areas of people activity. I know the code states that in one way or another, all the areas of people activity are related. But when you think about white Jesus and the effect it has, not only in religion, but in other areas of people activity like time and energy, economics, people spending a lot of time and energy looking at this image, education, a lot of non-white people, and Black people spend a lot of time learning about Jesus Christ and his teachings. I don't even know if it's accurate, but even if they are accurate, it's all with the white image. Sex, and he talks about how every woman is made to desire and have a white Jesus kind of man. I know some there are Black females out there that want a man who's a man of God, a man of Jesus. For me, that can be decoded as I want a white male. So I want somebody that's confused about racism, white supremacy. I want somebody that worships a white person, a white male. So it's interesting that how this image of white Jesus is just all over the planet, controlling the minds of Black people, and some of us think that we can undo that with a simple picture of a Black Jesus.
Thank you, Mr. Kwaku. Very, very well said, and very, very logical. And I'm just gonna discuss some of the discussing things I witnessed when just doing research on religion. And I should point out that religion is a wonderful tool for keeping non-white people divided around the whole planet. So that's a lot of primitive behavior from non-white people who could be classified as I don't know, brown. They're so-called Muslims and so-called Hindus. And they're apparently white people are keeping them in conflict with each other, because I saw 2 videos of them displaying conflict. I saw a video of a bunch of Muslims throwing rocks. Well, first of all, the Muslim victims were on a roof, and there was some Hindus on the bottom floor, like celebrating some sort of holiday and dancing. And on above, there's a ton of Hindus throwing stones at them, causing serious injuries. Many of the Hindus had to go to the hospital. And then I saw another clip of a Hindu person in a movie theater screaming out that if all Hindu boys marry a Muslim woman, then the Hindu people are gonna. And I'm just, wow, this is so pathetic and pitiful. From in every stretch of the world, even when people are so-called practicing religion, it's just disgusting. They're not using religion to help people. They're not using religion to solve problems, just conflict. My religion is better than yours. I'm gonna throw a rock at you. True, like I've been conditioned to be a primitive, powerless person, have to resort to throwing rocks and not using logic. So globally, we're in bad shape. No, actually not in bad shape. Globally, we are in an insane, pitiful state as non-white people, where we're called Indians, Pakistanis, whatever. If we got color in our skin and we are following some sort of religion, guaranteed, not looking good. It's not looking constructive. All right, I think we are moving into the cross. Yeah, so first of all, I would encourage everyone to check out our studies on Yurugu by Dr. Remember Ani and the ISIS papers, because we really have put the nail in this coffin and this religion thing. This with ISIS study, this would be our 4th time putting the nail in the coffin of religion, because we discussed this in Delectable Negro, we've discussed this in Yurugu, and we discussed this in the ISIS papers, and now race Cold War, all telling us the same thing, all computing the same thing, how religion has been used to destroy us. And Delectable Negro indicates to us that, hey, not only destroy us, but religion has been used to actually consume us. But hopefully this 4th nail in the coffin will bring some more clarity and motivation to solving this problem. Anyways, just how in religion, when we're sitting down in a classroom and we're listening to that white teacher tell us about whatever subject, a white person is getting a different message and a non-white person is getting a different message. And as seen here, that's also the case when looking at crosses and just a different color of crosses, and how Black people and white people view the cross. It's all very interesting and symbolic and telling of our situation. I'm going to read here from 267. It says, the meaning of the cross is very different for Black and white people that believe in and practice racial supremacy. For white people that believe in and practice racial supremacy, it is seen as a symbol of white eternity, white dominance, white nationalism, or the bonding of the white race. For Black people, the cross is seen as a symbol of transformation into non-racist existence. The rugged cross means struggling through a strife and pain-filled life that can be overcome with a strong belief and faith in another continuation of life that is based on truth, justice, and righteousness. The darker cross symbolizes the ending of racial oppression and being under the yoke of white supremacy domination. When the discussions about sin and evil abound, the only point of reference is to the world as it currently is. The world as we know it is dominated by racial and color supremacy. Therefore, the meaning of leaving this world for a better place is the same as being freed of racial and color domination. The cross means that with struggle and perseverance, we shall overcome the evils, issues of race and color discrimination. Black people relate to the darker cross that is more symbolic of Blackness and the culture of struggle and freedom from the oppression than of dominance. The streets are paved with gold means that everybody will be equal and enough food, clothing, and shelter to go around. There would be no lying, stealing, and killing in that holding place. All of our troubles and worries will be over. Black people visualize a different heaven free of racial domination with a benevolent and righteous God. The new cross is too smooth and silky and gives the impression that there was never a struggle. This does not, I'm just gonna pause there. I think I read enough to get the message across. Even when we're looking at the cross, when a white person sees the cross, like for example, your neighbor Roger, or a active member of the KKK, when they see the cross, more times than not, it's representing like a continuation of their race, and having a race in the first place indicates that there's a system of white supremacy. So when they see a cross, they say, "Hey, all right, we're doing good. You know, we got the Asians worshiping Christ. We got the Africans so-called Africans worshiping Christ, so-called Asians worshiping Christ. So our future is secure. We're doing good. White supremacy is doing well. A non-white person, black male, black female sees our cross. They're hoping for a change. They're hoping a change is gonna come. On their knees before work, after work, praying to Mr. Jesus for a change, because they experience the racial domination, the mistreatment 24/7, and they experience the lack of correct resources to maintain correctly. But the powers that be have retarded us so that instead of studying the problem, countering the problem, the best we have been taught to do, I suspect, is to pray to Mr. Jesus. But I just may be a totally confused, demonic black male. So yeah, that's my this one. The cross. Folks would like to chime in, please go ahead.
It comes off as a symbol of rape to me. If you look at the cross, that's clearly a plagiarized version, not getting too far in the symbols, but the cross is clearly a plagiarized version of the Ankh. And if one understands what the Ankh is, and when you look at the cross, that looks like a white phallic symbol. And the fact that it's global, this is a global symbol. And looking at the sheer nature of white people, what they've done globally through history, and you always have this cross, symbolizing their religion. Yes, it's a white symbol of rape to me, a white phallic symbol of rape. Because look how many non-white people in the millions, billions, perhaps, have been raped out of their minds, their bodies, their souls, their energy. So yeah, that's what it means to me. Yeah, the Crusades,
Yeah.
that's it right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
the saga continues.
Yeah, that there's been a detectable pattern of behavior that white people have done, which is give us Bibles and then wage a war against us, raping us, even before that, when they organized themselves around this religion and they gave of Christianity, and they gave it this cross, they would, go on large massacres, just slaughtering everyone who was not wanting to be a Christian or submit to this Christian rule, their white rule of Christianity. Christ equals white. This Christianity is just a disguise to hide the religion of white supremacy. But yeah,
and in the missionaries, look at the language. Mission. We're on a mission.
Yeah.
I got one of those calls. How you get those automated calls Um, well, this wasn't automated. I actually spoke to someone. So, I strongly suspect this was a white woman. And, she was calling for donations, about starving children in predominantly non-white areas. And I asked her, well, the institution that you all are building, it has a religious connotation to it, right? Christian. And so I'm like, well, if the children don't want to adhere to your Christian teachings, will you all still feed and clothe them? Like, can they still come and get clothed and fed? When she says, well, yeah, we'll feed them and clothe them anyway, basically, but their primary mission is to indoctrinate them with this poison called Christianity.
Right in your face. Yeah. Yeah, and they hide it in plain sight. Hide it in plain sight 24/7. They just know that our eyes have been diverted and minds have been diverted so far away from focusing and paying attention to what's happening on planet Earth. So they can do things like this. They can, I don't know. We're gonna see more of that when we move on to the next section. But before we move on, any more comments on religion?
My only comments on religion are, I just hope that Black people and non-white people would try to come to a full understanding of what exactly it is that they are choosing to practice. From my understanding, practicing Christianity, a religion where you have a white male as the religious symbol, is a practice of a lack of Black self-respect. So I would just encourage Black people, non-white people to truly understand. I mean, go through history, learn how this religion came about, and learn it from non-white people, Black people who have studied this subject, not only white people, to get a better understanding, because this is a practice of no Black self-respect, if you ask me. And there's no saving. There's no saving. Nothing to salvage from this religion. The cross, like 05 said, check out the ISIS papers and that image, holding a cross, wearing that around your neck. I don't think people realize actually what that symbol means or what it is. So just encouraging people to learn and understand what this religion actually is.
Thank you, sir. And yeah, as the audience number goes up and down, I suspect the combination of words discussed here involving religion is being received perhaps in an interesting manner. Anywho, continuing to another one that's been hidden in plain sight, another piece of racist coded language, coded symbols that has been hidden in plain sight, that I'm sure no one caught before this book, before Kyrie and her was decoding. Let's get the detergent. Yeah, let's get detergent powder. Let's get yeah. So the next thing we're discussing is detergent, and I'm sure I'm supposed to get this one queued up for us too. Let me try to do that right now. But does anyone recall the clip of the black male washing machine commercial? Anyone recall that? Doesn't matter. So this is what we're getting into, and this is what we're going to be discussing: the color-coded message hidden in laundry detergent, just soap in general actually. So I'm gonna play this for y'all.
改变只需一颗俏皮洗衣溶珠，俏皮全国照。
Alrighty, greetings, Kanfu Yahoo and Line 22. Lime says he thinks the commercial came out in China. It honestly doesn't really matter what area of the world this came out of. This indicates to us and should show us that everyone has computed the messages of racism, white supremacy. Everyone has been successfully programmed to mistreat each other on the basis of color. The people being mistreated the most, Black people, or people classified as Black. And this is an excellent segue because just ask Kyrie and her how to coach laundry. And laundry is supposed to be just, getting the dirt out of your clothes. It's pretty simple, cleaning your clothes, pretty simple concept. But because we're dealing with racist men and racist women, it can never be that simple. It always has to be embedded with racist logic. So I suspect in this commercial, this Black male represents, he literally represents dirt, because he's a Black male. He's a symbol of dirt, trash, and filth, which is why he had to come out as a pale person, as a light-skinned person. And this is what white people have made laundry to actually mean, separate, keeping the color separated, not letting the color clothes bleed into the white clothes. It has a good excuse, but it has been really, really well hidden. And Kyrie and Harold does an excellent job at decoding it. So let me read. Oh, actually, Ms. Quaker, you want to chime in?
I only said stop Asian hate.
Oh, okay, for real, stop Asian hate. Yeah. So let's see here. Let me see where that one there. All right, maybe all right. Actually, before we get into the detergent, let's look at this another interesting thing I discovered doing research. And this is going to be no surprise to anyone. I'm sure it shouldn't be any surprise to anyone. But racism and white supremacy is so powerful, and it has affected the minds of the global planet. Many people who have color in their skin despise that reality, and they attempt to do many things to change that. So this is a product that is advertised to people who want to increase skin brightness, lightens the skin, basically. And I saw this product advertised on Facebook, and I saw a Black female ask how much. Very telling of just what's been done to our minds. And we think of Mr. Michael Jackson, victim of racism, what he did to himself and attempting to look more white, because as we're going to learn through discussing soap and toothpaste and detergent, that hey, white is where you want to be, and you definitely don't want to be anywhere near dark. And if you are dark, you better try to get white, get light. So it's interesting. Products that allegedly make a person lighter. Also, the name is called Advanced White, which is also a name used to market a ton of toothpastes still in 2022. So people are not confused. White people, I should say white people are not confused about what's been done to the average mind of the average non-white person. So I'm going to read a little bit from the text. So from 268. Hold on. Yeah. Skin bleaching is viewed as a means to help some dark-skinned Black people to feel better by getting lighter colored skin or whitening up. In the white communities, bleaching means to remove darkness. The bleaching process has been used to breed or bleed out dark skin, as in Nazi Germany or in ancient India. In both cases, the objective was to bleach out color. The language of racial miscegenation and bleaching is a process of wiping out color through interbreeding, intermarriage, or sexual relations. The act of bleaching means to remove skin pigmentation through decolorization. It is very interesting how easy language with a different purpose can be transferred into a coded racial or color message. So a message has been computed, and it's I don't know if I forgot where I saw it. Oh, I think it was on Twitter. I saw a white person saying that in some areas of the world, that a plantation organization, so-called job, workplace, they can say, hey, I want a light-skinned person to take this role. I want this person, so which means no dark-skinned people, no people classified as Black. And if you're not Black, lighten up. So very, very tragic. I'm going to continue reading for a little bit. And this is bringing it back to detergent. Let's go back to detergent. And I just want everyone to think about those little, in a box of detergents, how it's like a bunch of tiny little white particles. And until reading this book, I just never thought about it. I just thought, hey, it's a white soap. It's just soap, But of course, white people attach a meaning to everything because they're very abstract. The Yoruba is very abstract and insane, I should say, which is why we're all insane. But continuing, so from 269. But on the back of many of the boxes, cartons, or containers are instructions on how to wash white and colored clothes. The instructions make certain references about the dangers of mixing of colors. The words read more like warnings about race and color mixing than about the washing of clothes. According to the instructions on the back of the boxes or containers of the washing of colored clothes and cold water is designed to keep colors from affecting the colors of the other clothes in the wash. The mixing of white and colored clothes is the same wash is in most cases a no-no. If white and colored clothes are washed together or are washed in warm water, the colored clothes tend to bleed into the white clothes. The word bleeding sends a double race and colored coded message. In decoded racial and color language, it means that racial integration will impact the purity of the bloodline. The surface or cover message is about how to wash clothes so that the material is not ruined. That is a good cover to send a racial and color coded message. The other not so detectable beneath the surface message sends a race and color communication about the dangers of color and race mixing. Is this a fear of the power of Black genetic material and its ability to be the dominant gene? Notice the use of the word bleed and this commonly used statement about mixing colors in a washing machine. The word bleed comes from the word blood. According to Webster's New Dictionary, one definition of blood is human stock or lineage and persons related through common descent. I'm not actually gonna read this. I'm just gonna explain what this is. I don't actually have to read this. I can just tell you what he's saying. So he's connecting how white people say you don't want to mix colors because the colors are gonna bleed in, and then he relates that to blood and how when a person is bleeding, he sees like that symbolically like they're losing lineage or the lineage is being tainted or destroyed because a person losing blood is probably not constructive health-wise. So very, very interesting. I don't know. I don't know how he connected these dots. I haven't heard anyone connect these dots like this ever. I'm just gonna read one more part about. I didn't plan to read as much as I'm reading from this portion, but I just think it's very, very interesting that just detergent, even your box, your laundry box, your laundry soap is a is a racial symbol, racist symbol, or just more proof that we're in a system of white supremacy. I'm just gonna read this last part. But actually, yeah, I think this is constructive to share. So he says here, now he basically is saying, I'm not gonna read, I'm just gonna share my notes about it. He discusses how white females, when they are placed in their family settings, they're often like exposed to soap operas, and during the commercials, they're often seeing advertisement for laundry detergents, and they're always hearing, separate the colors, keep the colors separate. You got to keep your whites pure, and like he sees this as he decodes this as programming them to keep, y'all stay at home. Don't be thinking about no black males. Don't be thinking about mixing colors. Don't be thinking about that. He called it a mental chastity. The commercials that say, hey, separate the colors. You bet you want to keep your whites white. Very interesting. Any comments?
And look at the language. Look at the language on some of these products. Tide. What does the counter racist mind go to when you hear that? For me, I think about the rising tide of color. That Lothrop Stoddard. Gain. How Mr. Fuller always says that everyone is out for fun, glory, and material gain. All. What about arm and hammer? What does that really mean?
Yeah. So this is really in your face. White, fresh, maximum power. That's what's really in your face.
Hey, check the picture I put in the WhatsApp.
See it. Oh yeah, we all remember this fellow here. We all remember this fellow. Grew up with this fellow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Anyone like to share any notes about bar soap, or have any more notes about the detergent?
I guess for me, the detergent, bar soap, even toothpaste, they're all kind of the same thing. They're all. I never was really aware of the language, especially the bleeding, mainly because I don't use language like that when I'm doing laundry and stuff. I thought that's just best practice. Kind of preserves your clothes to separate them and whatnot. But yeah. So that was very revealing for me. I learned a lot there. With the bar soap though, I suspect I'm not the only one. But being heavily victimized, I know for a fact that at one point in my life, I thought that I could scrub myself lighter by using soap, and I know I attempted it. I was young, heavily victimized, which reminds me that also on the topic of bleach, that Black people all over the planet have been so victimized that not only wearing weaves wasn't enough for them, but to also attempt to bleach their skin and the enormous risk that comes with it. I mean, you can develop all types of burns from bleaching your skin. And I know that it's a huge, I don't know about other places on the planet, but I suspect the same, but a huge market on the African continent, especially in places like Nigeria, some Ghana. A lot of these people do it openly too, and they, it's kind of like supported. It's nobody really is going, do you hate yourself? When they're bleaching their skin, nobody suspects that that's like a self-hating practice or anything. It's quite telling of the level of confusion and victimization that Black people in those areas have experienced. A few people that I think of that have bleached their skin, as you can see my, I don't know if you can see it now, but Michael Jackson, unfortunately, man, there's just so much that I just don't understand. Well, actually, I take that back. I do understand. Victim of racism. That's all you need to understand about that. Sammy Sosa, I think, was also another one. Bleaching his skin. Just very, very tragic. I think if Black people, non-white people on the planet don't see these people as victims of racism, who have been heavily victimized into hating themselves because of the awesome power of white supremacy, hating them, their skin and their features. I don't know what else you can look at these people as. I can't help but feel sorry, pity for people like this, for people that have gone through this.
Tremendous pity for Mr. Michael Jackson, heavily victimized, sabotaged by the system of white supremacy. And yeah, I'm just gonna tie in the bar soap and the toothpaste because they are decoded in a very similar manner. I'm gonna start with the bar soap first, like starting with the white bar soap, for example, Dove. Dove. Yes, Dove soap. Soap I actually use, and he describes, bathing as another intimate practice, and when we are using a white soap, it produces some sort of psychological attachment to this white thing, this white piece of soap is helping me to purify me, and then as Kwaku mentioned, some victims of racism even believe or attempt to use this white cleansing soap to make their skin lighter, and it's really tragic. And what's so ironic and just shows you how everything's been inverted and quite insane is that like black soap, charcoal soap is actually way more constructive than these highly artificial soaps, to say the least. And the same thing with toothpaste. Charcoal toothpaste is again, black substance that is probably way more constructive than the highly artificial fluoride contaminated toothpaste that we are forced to consume. And again, somebody decodes brushing one's teeth as very symbolic and intimate, putting this white paste in your mouth. You're trusting this white thing to make you better, to help you get closer to whiteness, and also you're using it to you're trusting it not to kill you, which is also very telling. So let's see, I'm just gonna read one thing just to show you how in your face they were about this one here, and because I have the image on the screen. Let's see, where is it? Okay, so I'm just gonna read. All right, I'm just gonna read these first two paragraphs. Oh yeah, here it is. Advanced whitening toothpaste. The most recent marketing push in the toothpaste industry is the concept of whitening. The big rush and on to increase the whitening of teeth, and the whiter the better. It is backdoor method to send racial messages. In a modern racial construct, these messages have to be transmitted in more hidden and decoded methods. The timing of the rush for the greater whitening of teeth is very interesting. This commercial push is happening at a time when white people feel under great siege by the growth and infiltration of non-whites within their domain. Whites are being told daily that sooner or later they will become a minority, and that infidel minorities or non-whites will decimate their ranks. Hardcore white supremacists regularly preach that the day of white genocide is coming. They hollow over and over that white people must unite to defeat the dark side or perish. To survive, they must drive the black devil into the sea. Many of the new toothpaste products give interesting race and color messages. Arm & Hammer has toothpaste literally called Advanced White. this is a clear coded message about the progress of the collective white population. The message is to advance white people in all that they stand for. The word advance means to accelerate the growth or progress. This is a very effective way of sending an open message. It is called hiding the message in plain sight. Just like that, racist man, racist woman have done it again. Fooled us all. Any comments, notes want to share about?
I'm just trying to understand what is tartar, and why mention tartar and not plaque? I was kind of Googling it, and why call it tartar?
Oh, no, tartar is another coded word. You know, I think we mentioned that earlier in one of the earlier race code war studies, but tar just means black. It's blackness. You know, it's black stuff on your teeth. That's what they're getting at. You know, get this black stuff out of you. Get this black gunk out of you. You know, that's what they're.
Not even black. So but they're calling
Yeah,
it
exactly.
tar.
Yeah, see, you're following. Yeah, I appreciate you pointing out the logic there. You know, yeah. I see people with yellow teeth sometimes. You know, they have some spinach on their teeth, but never is it tar.
Yep.
Never is it black gunk. You know,
yeah. And also, since we're on the subject of teeth, and I know many victims may not care, but I'll say it anyway. Your teeth are also supposed to be slightly yellow because they're a bone. Your bones are yellow. I'm not really talking about the teeth that are severely yellow, but your teeth are supposed to have a slight yellowish color to them. I think most people will probably still prefer to have the white bright teeth. I know there are many people who seek out that kind of service from the dentist and whatnot, but I'm just saying it because it's okay to have slightly colored teeth, slightly yellow teeth. I'm just stating a fact. That's all.
Yeah, I've seen that trend of just non-white people just spending so much money to get all their teeth replaced with just brand new pearly whites. Is that what they call them, pearly whites? You know, and again, another coded symbol. Pearls mean something pure white. So yeah, thank you, Mr. Kwaku. Yeah, I've never fretted over my teeth not being pearly whites. You know, I know I take care of my teeth. So if it don't look like these people pictured here, I'm not gonna go mad and go to a dentist to get surgery. You know, just more
laser removal.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
All sorts of stuff. Just brush regularly and floss. That's all you got to do.
Yep, and it's just so in our face. We got extreme whitening, we got optic white. It's just, and then I wonder what is it doing? Yeah, I just wonder what is it doing ultra bright? What is it doing to our mind? We're just in that grocery store, and we're just going down these aisles and seeing advanced white, optic white, purified white, pure Dove, all this stuff. It has to be doing something to us.
Not to mention the fluoride that is found in many of those toothpastes. Fluoride is known to calcify your pineal gland. Your pineal gland is also an important organ for your function, for how melanin functions in the body. So yeah, you're trying to shoot for whiteness, trying to attain white, get that advanced white. You're calcifying your pineal gland. Can't access your melanin the way you're supposed to. It's like a triple whammy, double whammy, just all sorts of effects. Once again, white supremacy is dominating the minds of non-white people.
And severely sabotaging it, just retarding us globally, holding us back, preventing us where we can be, just keeping our thoughts filled with just really silly nonsense. Jeez. And they're doing that chemically and with large amounts of propaganda that is found in all areas of people activity. But I'm mostly thinking about area 3 right now, entertainment. Anywhere comments, notes, folks want to get in the airways before we get to closing comments?
Yeah, I think that if there's anyone in the listening audience, if they could submit, or if we could talk more about how these toothpaste, which practically hypnotize us to have whiter teeth, calcify our pineal glands. That may be of importance to discuss in the future.
Agreed. I'm not even I understand the pineal gland. I've heard white and non-white people lecture about this this organ, that it is said that it has already been calcified in white people, but non-white people it is not. And that attributes different behaviors, thoughts, I suspect, and it is constructive to have a non-calcified pineal gland. So yeah, as I said, chemically sabotaging us, and motivation to solve the race problem. Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not familiar with the pineal gland. I've just heard a couple lectures on it, but I do agree it would be constructive to learn more about it and to really understand the sabotage, the precise sabotage occurring. So any more?
That's it for my notes on this section.
All righty, would anyone like to, as well as the 2022, would anyone like to get us started on closing comments?
Oh, you didn't want to go over sex in the bottle?
Oh, hold on. Oh, the code. I totally forgot about this one. I don't think I have notes for this. Let me see.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's short.
Free to discuss. Yeah, folks are free to discuss. But yeah,
I mean, it's short. I don't mind reading it. You know, yeah, just conversation sake.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one. But yeah, you go for it.
Okay. 274. Sex in the bottle. The Pepsi and Coke bottle used to be compared to the figure of a Black woman. During the early years of Pepsi and its rival Coca-Cola was sold in pop bottles. This was before the cans, plastic bottles, and cartoons became a popular consumer item. The old Pepsi and Coke bottles were shaped like a female. The content inside the bottle was a very dark liquid substance called soda, pop, or beverage drink. The dark liquid combined with the shapely bottle gave the impression of the curve of a female body. To be more precisely, it gave the impression of a dark or Black female body. Black females have often been referred to as being shaped like a bottle of Coke. Today, the round can and plastic bottles have replaced the female figure. Today, the round can and plastic bottles have replaced the female figure. However, the color of the substance has not changed. The desire to consume the dark colored substance is greater than ever. The sale of Coke, Pepsi, Diet Right Cola, and other dark colored beverages are much greater than 7-Up, Mountain Dew, and others combined. The consumption of this very dark substance was in effect taking a Black potion into the body. In a racial and color context, it meant the digestion of color. White people have consumed billions of tons of dark colored products from soft drinks to chocolate. Soft drinks have little to no effective nutritional value, yet products such as Coke and Pepsi sell billions of units each year. What is the allure? Some say that it is because of the addictive nature of the substance itself. Some cola soft drink products have been rumored to contain highly addictive drugs such as cocaine. However, in the racial and color context, the desire for the product is based on the desire of many whites to consume blackness within their system. It has the subliminal impact of creating color. It has the reverse effect of washing with white soap. It allows many white people to act out getting greater skin color through the digestion of a magic color potion. In the old witchcraft images, the female demon is dressed in dark and is always brewing up a special intoxicated formula. This brew is always a dark and sexual substance. It is often an intoxicant such as gin, beer, wine, or rum, which are all dark colored substances. The dark colored substances symbolize power, mystery, and sex. This is one of the subtle attractions of Coke and Pepsi. It represents the power of sexual energy and for males of the notion of virility. The subliminal message in the visual marketing packages of some of the soft drinks is a blue devil or a demon character that is barely visible to the discerning eye. This hidden message connotes a feeling of power, energy, and invulnerability.
So that's this section, another huge roasting moment, also delectable Negro moment. White people have an easily detectable pattern of, putting dark things in their body to feel good, to want to perhaps fantasize about having something color inside them, having color. That's why they get tattoos, because they want color in their skin. That's why they tan. They want color in their skin. That's why they have such an affinity for alcohol, because when they put that dark liquor in their body, it makes a lot of them feel powerful, makes a lot of them feel good. So we're dealing with a very interesting lot of people who classify themselves as white, and very, very telling the inversion, the projection, and the delectable Negro moment of just the delectable Negro-ness of it all, of just Coke, chocolate, it's all very macabre and super insane. And as I become obsessed with this race problem, and I hope it's constructive, and I hope it motivates more non-white people to not become obsessed with it, just to think about it a little bit more and do that a little bit to counter the system in whatever way that they can, because the enemy is very, very serious, but so deranged that countering it and them very doable. It just simply starts with us changing our behavior. We gotta change our behavior, and then justice will be around the corner, I suspect. So anyone want to comment on what was read?
Just from my observations, I've seen many people, especially white people, consuming this drink religiously, especially in the early hours of the morning. I suspect that I would agree with Kari Naharo and his analysis that they believe it gives them some kind of energy, some life energy. They drink, from what I witnessed, many drink it like it's coffee or something, have one of them a day, etc. Overall, very toxic drink that shouldn't be consumed by pretty much anybody on the planet. That's my only comment for the little sex in the bottle.
Tragically, I was so addicted to soda. I used to have a 2-liter in my high school and middle school locker. Go take a swig from my Coke. You know,
Yeah.
I'm having a tough class day, and I need to swig on my coat. You know, want to come to my locker and get some. It's so very trashed.
I never personally, I never liked the Coke or even like the dark sodas. I always tried to drink the lighter one, but who knows? That could also be something in there too, some subconscious stray from dark substances, dark things. I don't really consume any of them anymore, but just something I thought of.
Yeah, and Ray just put another delectable Negro moment into the chat. I'm gonna get on the screen just to, and this is very common. We hear white people saying stuff like this all the time. Chocolate, they say, chocolate every day says, she says, chocolate is the secret to their long marriage. They just needed some color in their life just to get through their marriage. Just a little bit color. I'm sure it's the white man giving his female the color. That's usually how it goes. But yeah, it's just. Wait, where did Jeffrey Dahmer work again? He worked at a chocolate factory. What do white people make a movie about? Oh, chocolate factory. So white people, they put it in plain sight. We just have to decode it. We just have to understand what we're looking at. I mean, it has to be suspicious of every white person until this problem is solved. Because there's some bizarre things happening on planet Earth, and this war white people are conducting. Just because there are not bullets flying through your window doesn't mean white people are not conducting a really, really global war against us. We're talking about chocolate right now, but it's still connected to the race war against us.
Not to be facetious, but it's still relative to the chocolate people.
Say again, Ray. What do you mean? Chocolate people? What is that?
Yeah, not to be facetious, but it's still relative to non-white people. Even talking about this white couple saying that the reason that they managed to stay married so long is due to chocolate. That's still relative to non-white people. So that's what I meant, but also saying not meaning to be facetious.
Oh wow. And Mr. Yahoo says, before the invasion of the Caribbean, the Yurugu, aka white people, used to cook us down to pull out the sugars. Once they found the sugar cane, they refined the technology. Yeah, well, if they boiled, not turn it down to some grease, I'm sure they were making us into all sorts of potions and sugary delights and delectables. Because that's just white culture. I'm fully aware that white people's long history of consuming us. I just haven't been able to find documentation of the manner in which they have. They have it, but they don't allow non-white people to access that information to actually find out how they were preparing pastries out of Black people. That'd be a little too much, a little too much to maybe get a little too many non-white people asking questions about that behavior. I know I did. Go ahead, Mr. Quaker.
It's quite interesting because as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, white people are constantly sending messages under a system of racism, white supremacy, that it is okay. It is okay to consume Black people, but not to to internally consume them, but not to externally apply them. So we don't like Black soaps, we don't like dark colors, but we like to consume dark colored things. We like dark things inside of us. And it reminds me of just the, racist man, racist woman have no issue having sex with Black people, but on the outside, externally, they constantly have to project an image of Black people are trying to rape us. We hate Black people, but when they secretly love Black people. I just keep seeing white people okay with consuming dark things, but it's not okay externally on the outside.
Well, you see, the operative term that you're using is consumption.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you there has to be a host to consume from. You have to be a leech, something vampiric of some sort, to need to consume something from a host. So just look at their base behaviors.
Yeah, and I would say just to add to that, a battery, you know, it's not useful until you put it in something. You know, a Black person, hey, if a Black person just standing there, that Black person is not useful unless they're being mistreated in some manner. And right now we're talking about being mistreated in the form of cannibalism, consumption, being consumed. So yeah, that's what we're used for. We're like a battery, energy source for the system of white supremacy. We are simply here to be mistreated in a number of ways, many of them sadistic, many of them long lasting, and we don't even know about ever. We just die. So very, very, very tragic existence that we have been born into, but our duty and responsibility to correct it. Definitely our duty and responsibility to correct it, because white people have to demonstrate it that they're not going to, unless there's enough of us who are actually, you know, getting them to stop laughing at us because we're always just being so silly, or our behavior looks so silly. So very, 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 very interesting. We are definitely the prey, the batteries, the energy source to the system of white supremacy. And that's just sit well with anyone to know that, hey, you're born on this planet to be a slave, a human, so-called human battery, literally being mistreated. And all this mistreatment is not only weakening you, holding you back, retarding us, but benefiting a lot of people, especially white people. Let's see what else. I might as well.
This is not a drill. Reese's just debuted 2 new cups just in time to fill your Easter baskets. One with extra chocolate and one with extra peanut butter. We have the extra peanut butter one here.
So we have a peanut butter lover's cup right here. It's big. And honestly, for me, that's where I would go. I want the more peanut butter.
Jeremy's going to do a little
This isn't the official one with the peanut butter on the top, though. But anyway, fans of popular candy know most people have a favorite ratio of chocolate to peanut butter goodness. It's perfect as is. I'm going to stand by that. But the brand has kind of caught some wind on changing it up and letting people choose.
Jerry's gonna take a nice bite. So
honestly,
good.
For me, it's always peanut butter.
Same. Does anyone like the one that has more chocolate? I don't know. On Tuesday, the Hershey Company announced the limited time arrival of Reese's Peanut Butter Lovers Cups. Which
Reese's, or do you say Reese's or Reese's?
I say Reese's. What do you say?
I always say Reese's Pieces.
Yeah.
But Reese's Cups.
But Reese's, I think. They also have.
My error. Sorry for wasting y'all's time. But yeah, white people's affinity for chocolate everywhere. Yeah, I think that oh yeah, and also back to the how white people used to associate the Coke bottle to the female, to the Black female, and that just goes hand in hand in how the Yurugu, you know, objectifies us, just makes us to be literal objects to be used by them. So yeah, that's not a Black person, that's a walking Coke bottle. You know, that's what abstract thinking produces. That's what insane, Yurugu, demented, deranged abstract thinking produces. You see a person walking down the street and you see a body or a vessel of liquid for your consumption. Very, what did Ray say? Very vampiric. Very vampiric indeed. All righty. Yeah. I think we put the nail in the coffin of a couple of things this broadcast. Hopefully that those things being religion, not well, I should be more specific. Hopefully those things being Christianity, white Jesus, God, just understanding detergent. I'm not telling folks to stop using detergent. Just understand, white people are really slick and hide it in plain sight. And just
what I would suggest, though, you say you're not telling people to stop using detergent, but what I would suggest Black people to do is to figure out ways to make these things yourself, and at least stop giving what few nickels we do have to these entities, and let's use the tool of our economics to put towards something more of a united, independent approach. I would just suggest that.
excellent suggestion. All right, so we shall get into just closing remarks. Let me take care of the chat. Yeah, Mr. Yawu says Mumia and bitumen and the reference code. They dug up the pharaohs, Numbia, every dark body they could find to grind up, chow down, and mince our bodies to build rose medicines and a macabre death style. This happened for centuries. Racist peanut butter cups. What did she just say? Oh yeah. Oh, she did. She was just saying Reese's, but now that you mentioned that, Reese's, races, I guess the word association, sound association is quite similar. So that's not even a stretch. That's very logical to interpret it that way. But she said Reese's, I believe. And I do remember learning about the pharaohs, white people, literally making using the bodies of pharaoh for medicinal use. And that's a program that you can find, you can track down. That's from the cows, where he does it a broadcast on like mummies and just white culture, how they were chopping off each other's heads and then running to sip up the blood as the blood was warm from the freshly decapitated head, or how they would really macabre history white people have. I would definitely I'm gonna actually upload that broadcast to our channel because it's hard to track down and it's not on the archive either. That being said, let's get into closing comments. Would anyone like to begin?
I can go ahead. Constructive business meeting. White images again dominating the minds of victims of racism, white supremacy. I strongly encourage, like I said during the broadcast, I strongly encourage non-white people and Black people to understand what it is, the things that they support, that they give their money to, especially white Jesus. It has been said that Christianity was created by Africans or Black people at one point in time. The question is that still being practiced? Is it constructive? Does it have constructive value, etc.? Get your copy of the code book. Go to producejustice.com. There's one other thing that I wanted to add. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Looking forward to the next business meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and share my closing. Very, very constructive discussion, attempted counter-racist business meeting. I hope we do encourage at least one victim of racism, white supremacy to put down the Bible and go to producejustice.com and to acquire a copy of the United Independent Compensatory Code System concept, so we can really develop that effective number of non-white people who will solve the race problem. That's all we're attempting to do. We're just begging you in a manner of attempting to show you how the system works, but ultimately we're begging you to help us to solve the race problem, because I personally do not want to be a slave forever, and I would prefer not to die a slave, but I would rather die a slave who attempted to eliminate racism than any other kind of slave. And I'm gonna meet my line. We'll see y'all. Maybe I will see y'all very soon. Thank you all for participating. I appreciate the chat and all the constructive information. Please, Mr. Yahoo, share that information in the Discord, please.
Very constructive business meeting. Looking forward to the next.
All righty. Again, please, this channel is heavily shadow banned, nigger banned, so please share this information. Like it, comment on it when I upload it, officially, so-called officially. And yeah, if it's constructive, share it. Attempt to support if white people have allowed you to have extra crumbs. But maintain. We'll see you all soon.